Hello and welcome back to the channel. We're going to have another quick look at the HEM15. There's been a bit of a firmware update on it, and this actually applies to all HEM and HAE, so all of the equatorial strainwave mounts produced by iOptron, and it's a bit of a game changer. Welcome back to Art of the Astro. So what has actually changed? Well, back in February time, I was in the middle of a discussion on the forums on cloudy nights, and we were discussing the 17.1 arcsecond peak that we kept getting. One of the other users noticed that when the guiding stopped, the mount no longer tracked at sidereal rate. It was always slightly different. And none of this made any kind of sense. It was reported to iOptron, and they've discovered a bug or something, and they produced a firmware which fixed that. But the interesting part of it is that it doesn't just affect when the guiding's stopped completely, because guiding is effectively a very much a start-stop kind of thing, where it will send a pulse, might not send another pulse for another 2 frames, then it will send another pulse. It actually affects all of guiding in the RA axis. So what appeared to be happening was the mount never set the tracking rate back to sidereal again, which is a bit strange. Now, when I first got the mount and we were looking at the guiding logs, when you analyse the guiding logs with the corrections removed, there was no clearly defined periodic error. The RA seemed to be a little bit all over the place. So it seemed quite kind of strange, and I kind of forgot about it for a while. But then when this firmware update came out, we thought we'd have another look. Now we've got the new firmware on. When we're actually guiding, if we analyse the guiding but without the guiding corrections on, we can see a clearly defined periodic error. Now that kind of opens up a few opportunities, because before, because you couldn't see the periodic error, you couldn't use the PhD2 periodic PPEC periodic error correction algorithm, but now we can. That seems to improve things a great deal. I'm now getting better guiding figures. I've now started using the PPEC algorithm completely. I don't use the old algorithm anymore whatsoever. We're getting below half an arcsecond guiding at times, which I think is absolutely exceptional for this mount. But the big thing is that this also affects all other iOptron strainwave mounts. If you look at the recent firmware updates, the same update which was applied to the HEM15 is also there on the HEM27, HEM44, HAE16, HAE18, HAE29, HAE44. It's there on all of them. So it's a good idea to get your mount updated to the latest version. And I know a lot of people with firmwares that don't like doing it. The fear is that it's going to fail during the firmware upgrade and it's going to brick the mount and stuff. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's very straightforward to do, and the benefits, I feel, are very well worth it. So we'll have a quick look through some of my previous imaging sessions. I've got some of the guide logs stored, and we can have a look at the differences between the old firmware and the new firmware. Okay, so here we have PhD2 log viewer, and this is the guiding graph from when we took an image of the Rosette Nebula. So as you can see, the figures for guiding aren't the best, but they're not bad. So we've got 0.084 in RA and 0.062 in declination, giving us a total of just over, for the entire 3-hour session, just over 1 arcsecond, which is pretty reasonable. There'll be sections in here where if we don't exclude all frames and then look at small sections, there'll be parts where it's a little bit higher. But overall, that's what we get. So if I re-include all the frames, exclude the frame settling, and we just analyze the selected frames, this is what PHD2 sees. You can see the deck's very up and down. That tends to be the seeing. But then if we go to frequency analysis, you can see that the 7.1 is peeking through there, 7.1 seconds, and that was the problem we were having before. But what is more interesting is if we have a look at the frames with RA corrections removed. Now this is on the old firmware. As you can see, the RA is a little bit all over the place. It doesn't really make sense. You can't see any periodic error in it or anything like that at all. So this was kind of the strange one, and you obviously can't use the PPEC algorithm at all with this. It just wouldn't work. So if I open, I believe this was when we were imaging M31. Let's look at the last section of that. As you can see, the guiding figures are well down and also closely match each other, which is a big part of the result. And then if we analyze selected raw frames, you can clearly see the periodic error in them, and that's what makes the biggest difference, that we can see the periodic error, which then enables to use PPEC. And this guidance session was just use PPEC, nothing else. I think the thing you do find, I think this is quite clear in the previous one, is there's a you can see this oscillation going side to side. It's like a little mini sine wave that's within the guiding, and I think that's what was causing the biggest amount of trouble with the guiding for this mount. As I say, with the new firmware, that has just completely disappeared. You can see areas where it drifts out a little bit and takes a little bit longer to come back in, but this is now using the PPEC algorithm, which uses a lot less. It's only using 50% aggression, where before I had to have the aggression up to 90. So this seems a lot better. I definitely think it's worth the upgrade. I'm getting exceptional guiding, even close to the celestial equator. Immediately after a guiding calibration, which is done on zero declination and just before the meridian, I'm getting about 0.7, which is exceptional. For that area, it's absolutely exceptional. So yeah, anyone who's got a HEM mount, HAE mount, have a look what firmware you're running. Have a look, see if the firmware is available for you. It's available on the version A, B or C of the mount. I have seen it available on all three versions of the HAE mounts. But yeah, it's definitely worth upgrading. So that's it for me today, just a quick one, and hope to see you in the next one. Ciao for now.